All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode of Fresh Eats with Brad and Meg. We're going to be making a ramen noodle stir fry today. So does everyone have their ingredients ready and prepped in front of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Great. So the first thing before we get anything started, you're going to have your pot of water on the stove, and we're going to turn that under high heat. And you can also add some salt to your water too. All right, now that everyone has their pots starting to come to a boil, let me just share my screen and we can get going on step one.
Hey guys, welcome to Fresh Eats. I'm Brad.
And I'm Meg, and today we're making a ramen noodle stir fry. Ingredients, we have half a head of broccoli, chopped into small florets, one zucchini into half moons, we have half a red bell pepper, 2 small carrots chopped into coins, green onions, garlic, soy sauce, you have your ramen noodles, sriracha, some oil for the pan, and some cornstarch for your sauce.
Okay, so step one there, we're making our sauce first. So we want to add our soy sauce, cornstarch, and hot sauce or sriracha. Depending on how much you like is up to you. You can omit the sriracha or hot sauce altogether. Just add a little bit of spice. Right, does everyone have their sauce all mixed up?
Yep.
Okay, once that's ready, we can just set that aside.
Yep.
Perfect, all right, and now we can move on to step 2. This is a really quick and easy recipe. It's super good for quick weekly meals. All right, step 2.
2. Now that the water is boiling, we can add our noodles to the pot, stirring to break up the noodles. When the noodles are separated and start to look cooked, take the noodle out to taste. When the noodles are almost cooked, drain them using a strainer and then rinse them under cold water to stop the cooking process. Set them aside.
All right, so we're gonna pop our noodles into the water and let them start to cook.
My water's not boiling yet, so
Okay, so if your water's not boiling, we'll just wait a few more minutes, and then once your water has come to a boil, we can pop our noodles in. We don't want to cook them just like al dente, if you've heard that saying before. There's just a tiny little bit of a bite left in your noodle because it's going to cook a little bit longer in your sauce. So you don't want them like too cooked because then it'll become mushy. If you have a lid for your pot, you can put that on. It'll help your it'll come to a boil faster. Does anyone have their noodles in their water yet?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you can either use like a fork or tongs to try and break up the noodles, get them nice and separated. So just keep stirring your noodles, make sure they don't stick together. It shouldn't take too long, just a few minutes to cook. And as the noodles are cooking, you can take one out and try one to see if they're cooked enough. And when they're
Hello,
like,
this is Shawnee. I just need a few more minutes for my noodles. Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks.
Do I turn down the heat now?
No, you can keep them at a boil. So if it's boiling too much, you can turn it down, but just keep it at a nice boil so they cook pretty quickly. And for anyone else, if your noodles are almost done or they're done, when you strain them, just remember to rinse them under the cold water so that they stop the cooking process. All right, how's everyone's noodles doing? Do we need a few more minutes?
I'm just straining
Mine are
mine
done.
now.
Perfect.
And are all good.
Okay, we're just gonna wait a few more minutes for some other people and then we'll get to move on to the veggies. How are your noodles, Jesse? Are they almost cooked?
Yeah, I'm not using ramen noodles. I'm using
The rice noodles?
was it fettuccine rice noodles?
Okay.
Yeah. So might be a bit.
Okay, so if everyone else has their noodles done, so make sure they're strained and then you rinse them with your cold water and you can set those aside. And then we can get our pan on the stove and turn it on a medium heat and we'll start heating that up so we can start cooking our vegetables. And Jesse, you can also get your pan starting to preheat too. So if you have two burners, you can do the two at the same time.
Can you say that again?
If you want to grab your pan and you can put that on a second burner and then we're going to turn on medium heat and then we're going to cook our vegetables. All right, if everyone has their pan starting to heat up on the stove, I will share my screen and then we can start cooking the vegetables. Right, so now we're going to move on to step 3.
Step 3. Once your noodles are ready, we are going to move on to the vegetables. In a large pan over medium heat, add a small amount of oil and the broccoli and carrots. These take longer to cook, so that is why we are starting them first. Allow the broccoli and carrots to soften about 2 to 4 minutes. Step 4.
Just remember to add a little bit of oil into your pan before you start to cook the broccoli and the carrots.
Yeah, I have oil on here.
Perfect. And these vegetables take a little longer to cook. That's why we're starting with these ones instead of putting them all together, because if it's all at once, then the peppers and zucchini are a little mushy. So I want to start these ones first. How's everybody doing?
Just doing my broccoli now.
Perfect. We're just going to give the broccoli and carrots about a 2 to 3 minutes start over the other vegetables. So maybe in like another minute or so, we'll move on to step 4. Keep the vegetables moving so they don't get too brown or burn. All right. If everyone has their vegetables starting to cook down, it should probably be good enough. We can move on to step 4 now.
Mine's not cooked yet.
They're not supposed to be fully cooked because we're going to continue to cook them with the other vegetables as well.
Okay.
So they need to be like a little bit cooked because they just take a little bit longer. So in step 4, we're going to add the other vegetables and continue to cook them all together.
Now that the carrots and broccoli are starting to soften, the bell peppers and zucchini and the garlic can be added to the pan. Cook the vegetables until they are tender but still are slightly crisp. This should take 4 to 6 minutes.
All right, so add in your other vegetables now, and we're going to give them a nice mix. And you guys can change up the vegetables if you like. You can add in like other vegetables. If you don't like broccoli, you don't need to add broccoli. You can add onions in. Really up to you. You can put, I don't know, what other vegetables can you put in? You can put in,
I put mushrooms in instead of
Oh.
broccoli.
there
Nice.
you go, perfect. I like to put bean sprouts in mine. Like you put those in the very, very end.
Oh,
Those are really good. Crunch, cauliflower, Tina said. Those are a very good one. And corn, yes. I used to love baby corn as a kid.
I may have missed it. Do we salt and pepper as we go this one or?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, good point. Put some salt and pepper in on your vegetables now. And just keep those vegetables moving so they don't stick to the pan. If you find the pan a little dry, you can add a little bit more oil, but not too much. You don't want them to be too oily. Just a little bit, like a teaspoon or so. And we're getting close to adding in our noodles into the stir fry now. So if they've been sitting off to the side, they might have kind of got a little stuck together. So if you take your tongs, you can kind of break them apart a little bit.
How should I put them in?
Your noodles.
Yeah,
So they should just be sat to the side because if they're strained now, and if they're sticking together, you can just break them up a little bit with tongs or a fork.
okay, so do I put it in now or what?
Oh, not yet.
Okay,
How is everyone vegetables doing? Are they almost cooked?
almost.
Almost cooked.
Perfect. So you guys can kind of cook them to your liking. I like mine a little more crunchy to have a little more of a texture in my stir fry, but if you like them a little more done, then you can cook them a little bit longer. We'll probably give our vegetables maybe another minute or so, and then we can move on to step 5. All right, your vegetables are probably pretty close, so I'm going to share my screen and we can move on to the next step.
5. When the vegetables are cooked to your liking, the noodles can be added to the pan and the sauce drizzled over top. Mix the noodles, vegetable, and sauce together. Simmer for 1 to 2 minutes until the sauce thickens. Stir in the green onions at the last minute.
Right before you put your sauce in, maybe just give it a quick little mix in case any of the cornstarch came to the bottom. And your pan should still be on medium heat. So you just do your best to try and break up the noodles and mix them in with the vegetables. It can be a little difficult at first, but the more you move it around, it should get easier. The sauce doesn't take too long to thicken up, so only like 1 to 2 minutes.
Also, it says from Tina, it says chicken broth works too as well.
Point. Yeah, the soy sauce can be a little salty too sometimes. So maybe if you did like a little bit of chicken broth and a little bit of soy sauce to make your sauce, that could work as well. Oh, in case you need extra oil. Oh, good point. It will kind of steam the vegetables.
Nice.
How's everyone's noodles doing? Are the in with the sauce? Is it starting to thicken up and coat the noodles?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, I'll move on to step 6.
Step 6. Portion your noodles into your bowl and top with the additional green onions. Enjoy!
So just before it's done, throw in your green onions and mix those in with the noodles. And you don't need to use a plate, or I mean, you don't need to use a bowl. You can also use a plate. Tina, I'm not sure which serving card you got, because we did have a 2 serving, a 4 serving, and a 6 serving. How many ramen did you use? So that was like 2, but it is like a very it was supposed to be serving for 2, but that was very like gracious. So it'd almost be like 3. Because I think for the 4 serving, we did 3 things of ramen. So you'll probably have some leftovers for lunch. Yeah, so when you're ready to plate, you can top it up with some green onions, and also if you have sesame seeds, those are really good. If you like sesame seeds, that's also a good thing to top it off with. How's everyone doing? Is it your sauce all good?
Smell all that good cooking.
Mm.
All right, once your noodles are completely coated, you can turn off your stove and plate up. Oh, Tina's saying she's loving it. Amazing.
Nice.
How's everyone else doing? Are we almost ready to plate?
Really good.
Perfect. Good to hear. Great. Is there any additional questions before we wrap up?
No.
Saying it smells good. Good to hear. Great. Well, we hope everybody enjoys their ramen stir fry. This was a vegetarian dish, but it'd be very easy to add any different type of protein that you do like. But it is good to have some keep your vegetables and have just vegetarian meals once in a while. But thank you everyone for coming to our 4th episode. We'll see you next week for our 5th and final episode of Freshies with
Thank
Brad and
you.
Meg. Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.
See ya.